Hi loves, welcome back to Olives. If you are new here, my name is Olivia. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you for tuning in once again. In this video, I'll be sharing with you how to make a handkerchief flare sleeve which are attached to a swimsuit or a swimwear. The link of the video will be in the description box. This is a simple tutorial. I would like you to stick around and learn with me. Let's get right into this video. I'll be using lycra and lace for my sleeve, and this is a long sleeve. Okay, so let's begin with the 3/4 part of the long sleeve. I'll draw out my starting point, and the full length of my sleeve is 21 inches. The lower part of the sleeve will be 8 inches. Okay, so deducting 8 inches from 21 inches, I have 13 inches as the full length. I'll add extra 1 inch, that will be 14, half inch to join the sleeve to the armhole of the dress. It's a swimsuit anyways, and half inch to join the main sleeve to my handkerchief flare. From the starting line, I'll mark down my cap's height, which is 3.5 inches. For this, I'll mark the back armhole of my outfit, just the back, and I have about 8.5 inches. Okay, so I'm going to place the tape this way, right from here like this, and mark down to the cap's height 8.5 inches and make a straight or diagonal line like this. Now I'm going to divide this diagonal line into 3, and from this first one I'll go up high ½ inch and connect like this, and from the second line, that's the division, I'll just connect it like this. So this is the back armhole of my sleeve. Okay, and I'll come down from here and just mark 1/4 inch and still connect to the top like this and reconnect here as shown. The front armhole of my outfit differs from the back, so it has to reflect on the sleeve as well. Now I'll measure around where my 3/4 ends, that's the 3/4 sleeve ends, and I have 10.5. I'll divide this 10.5 by 2. I have 5.25. So I'm just going to connect them this way, and I'll go in with a curve to just shape it nicely. And that is it for my 3/4 sleeve. Now we'll move on to calculate for the lower part, which is the handkerchief, the main part of the tutorial, and I'll use this same 10.5 inches, right, as the circumference of my handkerchief flare. So this is 10.5 inches. To get the radius of my flare, I'll divide the circumference by 6.28. So I have 10.5 divided by 6.28. Then I have about 1.67, right? We need to approximate, and whatever fabric I'm using is stretchy. Okay, so instead of 1.7, I'll use 1.5 inches while drafting, but for calculation's sake, my radius is 1.7 when I round it. Okay, so now we need the full length while drafting the flare. Okay, so we are going to add 8 inches, which is the length of my handkerchief flare, right? You know, that was what I deducted from my actual full length. So I'll add the radius to my length, right? And this will give me the total length of the fabric I'll cut to draft my flare. Okay, so I'll add extra 1 inch, which will serve as joining allowance as well as hemming allowance. So adding my 9 inches to 1.7 inches, I have 10.7. Remember I said I'll use 1.5. Okay, so that will be 10.5 inches, and I also added allowance to my 3/4 sleeve. Now I've cut out the front as well. This is this way, and then cut out my front armhole. In case you are drafting directly on the fabric, you just have to draft, right, and when you open up, you trim off that part that will be the front. Okay, then you determine with a notch the front from the back. So back to my handkerchief flare, the full length we calculated was 10.5. Okay, so we are going to make sure that we have a fold of 10.5. In total, if you fold into 2, that will be 21, right? So this is folded into 4, and from the pointed part here, I'll remark my 10.5 inches just to be sure, right? So literally we are going to have a square. This is how mine looks like, which also means that your length may differ from mine. Okay, so from this point I'll mark out 1.5 and rotate it like this, and if I multiply this measurement here by 4, I have almost 11 inches, which is a little more than my radius, right? Now if you wanted to cut out a flare, we would have measured this way. I have 9 inches, which is the actual length, right, plus the allowance. We will measure it this way, and this will be our flare. But instead we are going for a handkerchief flare, right? So instead of cutting out the flare, the extension in the middle, right, gives us that handkerchief look, which makes this tutorial very simple, because you are not going to mark around to cut out a flare. You just have to measure your radius, and that will be all. Now if I measure out the middle, I have 13.5 inches, which is 4.5 inches more than the actual length. Okay, so for me, I want to extend that midpoint a little bit. I think that was about 1/2 inch, just to have that pointy look. It is very optional, okay? And so I'm just going to cut out. I'll cut the same thing for my lace, okay? This is very simple. Cut out your square and also cut out your radius. Then you have your handkerchief flare. Alright, so I'm going to place these two together, right sides facing, and I'll go ahead and pin them together. So when I take this to the machine, I'll stitch down the hem. After all done, this is how it looks like. I also added hemming gum to the edge while stitching. Feel free to correct me if that is not the actual name. I'll move on to trim off the 4 corners and turn everything inside out. So I'll go ahead and press down the edge so the steam will melt the hemming gum, and I'll also stitch down this part of the flare. This is what it looks like. Having done that, I'm going to join this to my 3/4 sleeve. I joined the side seam together with my allowance, so I'm just going to pin them together. And this is how it looks like. Now I have my full sleeve. I'm going to attach this to my outfit. First, I'll pin the side seam of the sleeve to the side seam of the dress, and also match the shoulders together. Then I'll pin round. The next thing to do now is to stitch round with 1/2 inch, and also stitch this side as well with 1/2 inch. I can't just wait to put this outfit on. I've stitched the sleeves together, and this is how it looks like. I'll wear it soon for you to see the main look. Alright, so this is how it looks like on me together with the swimsuit. I hope you enjoyed learning and watching my video. If yes, please give it a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel if you are yet to. Feel free to comment, turn on your notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new video.